Suppose you are working in a company and you have a storage account or a database containing sensitive business data. Even if you restrict access using firewall rules, storage account will still have a public endpoint and someone can discover that endpoint on the internet. Security teams or a network team doesn't like that and they would ask, why is my critical data service still exposed through a public endpoint at all? So to fix that and to make our resources accessible over private network only, Azure Private Endpoints were introduced. In this video, we'll understand what problem private endpoint solved, why service endpoints were not enough, and finally a complete hands-on demo which will help you understand everything easily. By the end of this video, you'll be able to confidently explain private endpoints in interviews or your real-world projects or set up in your own environment. So the problem, whenever a PaaS resource like a storage account, database or a key vault, whenever they are created, have a public endpoint, and from that public endpoint we can access it publicly from anywhere across the globe. And even if you set up firewalls or some configuration to restrict some access, the public endpoint still remains exposed to the internet. Now, Azure authentication and firewall rules may block access, but the endpoint itself still exists publicly. For many organizations, banks, government agencies, or healthcare companies, this becomes a very serious security concern because having a critical database, a key vault where your secrets are stored, or a storage account with some important files, having it publicly exposed is a concern to security. So every organization want their application, whether it's a virtual machine or Azure App Service, access the another service like a database, storage account, or key vault, access it privately without exposing the service on the public internet. Now to fix this, Microsoft came up with a solution that is Service Endpoint. In the previous video, we covered everything regarding service endpoints. You can check the link on the top to see Service Endpoint, how this works and a demo. So the Microsoft first attempt to solve this was service endpoints. With service endpoint, traffic no longer leaves Azure network. Instead of traveling through the public internet, traffic remains on the Azure backbone network, so it never goes to the public internet, and this improves security and reduces the exposure. Everything sounds perfect, but the storage account, your database, still has a public endpoint. And this is the limitation with service endpoint. Traffic from your resource travels in the Azure backbone network to access PaaS service, but the PaaS service would still have a public endpoint. That means though it has the firewall restriction that it can be accessed only from the allowed VNet, the endpoint still has a public IP. And this is where organizations wanted something stronger, and Microsoft came up with private endpoints. And with the private endpoints, public exposure was removed completely. That means no longer your PaaS resource was accessible from the internet. So this was the problem private endpoints were designed to solve. So how it works is that when you create a private endpoint from the VNet subnet, a private IP is allocated to that PaaS resource. That means only from the VNet PaaS resource can be accessed, and that too from the private IP it was assigned. And with this, the public IP and the public endpoint was removed completely, and any resource that is present in your virtual network or a paired VNet can access the resource directly with the private IP of the PaaS resource. And you can think it like this: the storage account is a Microsoft managed service. Azure does not move your storage account to your VNet, but instead Azure creates a private entry point inside your network. So inside your VNet, you will have a network interface card, same like your virtual machine. When you create a virtual machine, you get a NIC that has a private IP allocated to it. And similarly, when we create a private endpoint, a NIC will be created with a private IP, and it creates a private link to the PaaS resource, which can be used to access the resource from the VNet. Now the traffic never needs to use a public endpoint, and the service becomes privately accessible. Now the application like your virtual machine that needs to connect to the database or a storage or your PaaS resource will use this IP, and Azure will then securely forward traffic to your storage account via private link. And this is why private endpoint feel like a resource living inside your VNet, but instead it has a private link that it makes to connect to PaaS resource. So suppose we create a private endpoint, Azure assigns an IP, but applications don't usually connect using IP addresses. Application connect using DNS names. For example, your mystorage.blob.core.windows.net would have a public IP, and without additional configuration in our application, the DNS still returns the public IP address and the connection would fail. To fix that, Azure uses a private DNS zones, and private DNS zones allow Azure to override DNS resolution. That means instead of going to the public IP, now it will go to the private IP address. And with the private DNS application, we now use the mystorage.blobcore.windows.net endpoint of our storage account. And this name resolution will now give back our private IP address where our PaaS resource is connected. So now let's see the complete traffic flow starting from your application to the storage account. So your application sends a request and the DNS resolves the storage account name to the private IP of the endpoint, and traffic reaches the private endpoint, and from the private endpoint it will route the traffic to the storage account with the private link. So with this everything will stay private and there will be no public internet exposure. So this was the theory regarding your private endpoint. And now to understand it better, let's head over to the Azure portal and let's do a quick demo. Now that we understand what Azure Private Endpoints are and why they were introduced, let's see everything in action. I've already created a virtual machine. I'll go to the resource group with the name VM demo and a virtual network. And the virtual network already has a subnet. And also then we have is a storage account. So our goal is simple. We want the VM to access the storage account privately without exposing it through a public endpoint. So we have a virtual machine in the VNet demo and the VM subnet. We'll use a storage account that we'll use for this demonstration. And at this moment there is no private endpoint configured, which I can show you with the networking. And you can see the public network access is enabled for all networks. And you can see the next option we have is private endpoints. And if currently we do the NS lookup from the virtual machine, I'll go to serial console. I'll use my username and password to log in. And to get my public endpoint of my storage account, I'll go to endpoints. So we have here our public endpoint. I'll copy this one, then go back. We'll use the command ns lookup. We'll remove this HTTPS. Now why we are running this command is to see where the storage account name resolves, and you'll notice that DNS is returning a public IP address that it's using to connect, and that means if our application tries to connect, it will attempt to reach this public endpoint. And in the storage account, if we go to networking, we will see that the public access is enabled for all networks. Now for that we'll use the easy login command. We'll use this command to check the connectivity from this virtual machine to the storage account. Since the public access is enabled, I'll copy the link and then copy the code. Then I'll use my account and then continue. I'll go back and it'll ask me to use the subscription. I'll use 3 and now I'm logged into my account. Now next command I'll use it to log in to the storage account. And since the public access is currently enabled, our VM can successfully access the storage account. Now let's go to storage account and then go to manage and then disable public network access. And it says that disabling it will make the resource not available publicly. So we'll proceed and then save. Let's go back to the virtual machine and then access it again. So it's going to take a minute or two. So you can see I can no longer access the storage account, and it clearly says that it's blocked by network rules of the storage account. Now we have seen that disabling the public access has completely removed all access from anywhere across the internet. Now we'll create a private endpoint, and from private endpoint we'll access the storage account now. For that we'll go to networking and then private endpoints. And in the private endpoints we'll go to create. This is where Azure Private Endpoints come into the picture. Instead of exposing the service publicly, Azure will now create a private endpoint inside your virtual network. So we'll choose the subscription R resource group. We'll give it a name, private endpoint storage account. And a network interface name is going to create automatically. We can change it according to us. Then we'll choose the region. Next go to resource. And in the resource, since we are going directly from the storage account, it has already selected the resource type and then the resource also. Next we'll select the sub-resource. In this case it's going to be the blob. We can choose a table, queue, file, web also, but we'll go with blob. Next go to virtual network. In here, whatever Azure resources we want to use to connect to the storage account, we'll use that. So I've already created VNet demo and then the VM subnet. Then I'll ask it to dynamically allocate the IP address. Then we'll go to next DNS. And this is where the private DNS zone will get created. That will be used for the name resolution. So we'll create a subscription and a resource group for it also. And then go to next tag and review and create. So this process will create two resources, that is private endpoint with a private IP and a private DNS zone, which will be used for the name resolution. And the private IP address will come from the VNet which we selected earlier. So if you open the private endpoint and expand, we have DNS configuration. So in here you can see the private IP it assigned to the storage account and the private link and the configuration. So the public endpoint earlier was this one. With the private endpoint, it has added a private link in the middle that it will use to resolve to the private IP. Let's go back and we can see a virtual network link is also created. So VNet link is very important for the private DNS zone. So if you go to zone, then go to resource and then expand, you can see an option of virtual network link. So virtual network link is automatically created for our VNet from where our resources is going to access the storage account. But for any other resource in any other VNet, if we want to use this DNS zone for the name resolution, the VNet link should be there. And if you go back to record set, you'll see the mapping of your storage account to the private IP address of endpoint. So if you go here, you can see that it matches with our endpoint. And if we go and edit, you can see a complete private endpoint name that it will use for the name resolution. Now let's go back and use this endpoint from the virtual machine and see if it still resolves to the public IP or a private IP. So we'll paste the command, I'll add an slookup, and you can see now we have the private IP address instead of public IP, and that means it is no longer publicly accessible and no longer present over the internet, right? And even if I do without the private link, it still resolves to the private IP address. So that means it is no longer accessible over the internet. For other users that are not coming from our network can still see public IP, but the storage account public access is totally blocked. That means nobody from the internet can access this particular storage account. And if I do the easy account storage list, and even though the public access is disabled, the VM can now access the storage account successfully. That's because the traffic is flowing through the private endpoint. So the request is coming from the VM application and then it's going to the private DNS zone, which has the resolution to the IP address of the private endpoint. And from private endpoint, it's going to the storage account. So this is the complete architecture how private endpoint works, and the same structure we can use it for other PaaS service like Azure Key Vault, your database, and so on. So I hope now you got why do we need Azure Private Endpoints. Without endpoints, destination PaaS resources are accessible over the internet. That comes with a lot of security risk. But with the private endpoint, we have a private access and no public exposure. And how everything started was that PaaS resources had public endpoint that was easy to access, goes over internet, no changing of the NSGs and their firewall rules. And for more security, Azure came up with service endpoint. In this case, the traffic was over Azure backbone network. That means internal to Microsoft. It was safer than public, but the public endpoint still existed. But with private endpoint, there was no public exposure and the highest security we get. And all our Azure internal resources can access PaaS resource directly with the private IP address. Other thing I want to highlight is that when we go to storage account and networking, whenever you have enabled the private endpoints, always remember to disable public network access because sometimes even after private endpoints is configured, everything is working fine, it's resolving to the private IP internally. People sometimes forget to remove the public access and which defeats the entire purpose why we are creating a private endpoint. So keep in mind and give a like and subscribe if you like this video, and I'll see you in the next one.